Hello, sociology students. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I have your notes for Chapter 6, Section 1, Primary and Secondary Groups. So follow along. Here we go. So there are two or more people who interact on the basis of shared expectations and possess some degree of common identity is known as a group. And a group is different than a form of a social category in that people typically in a group share a social characteristic like gender. A group is different from a social aggregate in that people who happen to be in the same place at the same time um, just happen to be somewhat together. And number four major features of a group is that they must have at least two or more people. There must be some kind of interaction among the members. There are members that must have a shared expectation. And then finally, members must possess some sense of common identity. When you talk about the sizes of groups, you can have a dyad, which is the smallest possible group there is that has two members. Whenever one person leaves, thus the group ends. You can also have a triad, which consists of three people. No one person can disband the group. The decision making is a little easier in this size as well. And then finally, aside from dyad, triad, there are basically small groups that consist of less than 10 people. There is some face to face interaction. In groups where you have 10 or so people, there can be up to about 45 different face to face relationships that can occur. Anything larger than 15 members when we talk about groups is not good because there is that tendency for people not to take on leadership responsibilities, making the group itself maybe not necessarily very functional. Moving on. Small groups that interact intimately over a fairly long period of time are known as primary groups. Your family, some of your close friends are part of that. Some of the basic characteristics of primary groups are that they are emotionally close. People who are members of this group seek one another's company. There is continuous contact with one another, and then they know one another and enjoy being together. There are also three functions of primary groups in society in that they provide emotional support, they promote socialization, they also encourage conformity to appropriate norms and values. Part of that being the fact that when you are part of a certain group, you really want to be in that group, and thus you're willing to conform to those standards. Groups that focus on temporary relationships that are more goal oriented tend to be more anonymous and impersonal. These are known as secondary groups. The characteristics of secondary groups is that they are goal orientated, meaning like you have a goal in mind and you want to achieve that. It also involves only a segment of one's life. Most likely, when you think about like being in the military or maybe being a member of a larger team, that takes a certain period of time. And then once you have aged out, you move on. They exist to accomplish a specific purpose, and the interaction is limited. Thank you very much.